Now I would like to invite Imam Taalib Abdulsamad, the Director of Islamic Research and Humanitarian Service Center of America, to speak on developing global awareness.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. First, we want to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, put our complete trust in Him, asking Him for His guidance and assistance and His mercy. We openly testify that there's nothing worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is indeed his messenger and slave servant. We do want to say peace be upon our Prophet, peace be upon his family, peace be upon his companions, and peace be upon us Muslims. Ameen. On the topic of global awareness, it's also on the topic of why we should be educated. First of all, I'm very honored to be amongst such distinguished gathering. People who have chosen to stand up and do something about the situation of our brothers and sisters who are suffering in East Turkistan. I'm very honored to have had the acquaintance of meeting Brother Anwar and his plight, and the plight that he have put into the hearts of many of you. And I'm one of those who of you have put this plight into my heart. Because in reality, when I first met him and he began to tell me about the situation, I was born in 1952, and they tell me that the land was taken over officially by the Chinese government in 1949. I wasn't even born. But to live 62 years and never even being privileged to know about this situation until I met him is by itself an atrocity. It's really a crime. It's a crime because of the silence of the people. Of course, I come from the lineage of African American people. My foreparents came here fighting and kicking on ships. And most recently, one who have our same blood became the President of these United States. And I say this because many people say maybe what you're fighting is a ghost, is a dream. But just remember this statement by Nelson Mandela. He said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And I live like that. That's the way I think. And I want to commend you, Brother Anwar, inshallah, those who are part of your constituency, that you now have an audience and you now have an ear. And just looking at the distinguished panel that you have people of notoriety. People can also get other people's voices in other people's ears to help spread this word of what's taking place in East Turkestan. There's another quote, and this quote is from Frederick Douglass. And all the people I'm reading to you are people that were enslaved or in prison for standing up for a cause. Who thought that apartheid would end? Whoever thought that Nelson Mandela himself would become the president of South Africa? No one. Frederick Douglass, he had a quote, and it says, "Those who profess to favor freedom, yet depreciate agitation, are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want an ocean without the roar of its many waters. The struggle may be a moral one, it may be a physical one, it may be of both. But it must be a struggle. Power concedes to nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will." If we just become silent, eventually Xinjiang will take on another name, a name that is incorporated in the Chinese language probably. But the problem I'm having here is when I came to the part where the people escaped to Thailand and then were sent to Turkey, and then they were sent back to the same cages that they came out of. That is the troubling part. Because even our Prophet Muhammad SAW, during the first hijrah to Abyssinia, even a Christian king Negus, gave the Muslims a safe haven. But when a Muslim go to a Muslim land and is rejected, that is a real sad situation. Also, my teacher, one of my teachers, Brother Sheikh Hassan, he's from Palestine. When I started looking at this situation, I just seen all types of similarities. You know, occupation, genocide, murder. It takes place all over the globe. But the only way we can really do something about it is not to depend upon the leaders of this land. Of course, you have to go to the United Nations. You have to get the world stage. But I don't think this is going to change from the world stage first. They have people come later when it's a benefit to them. Only after they see a benefit in it, not before. But for me and you, the common people, I think we see a benefit in it already. Because if they can usurp your values and your rights, then what about mine another day? We know that we have situations in America with homeland security and government restricting rights of the citizens simply because of the acquisition of material wealth. And when I started hearing about the oil reserves that's under the grounds in East Turkistan, it made me think about the same reason why Sudan is being torn apart. Afghanistan is being torn apart. Somalia is being torn apart because of these, what's under the ground. In America, and I am an American citizen, we have the First Amendment. And I believe that when this amendment is really shaken and disturbed, anyone is at prey then. Anyone could be a victim. And that is to say, the Congress makes no law respecting an established religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition government for a redress of grievances. Now we know our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that there's 3 ways that we should deal with a matter if we see a wrong being done. If with our hands, with our tongues, our voices, or with our silence, and this silence is the weakest of faith. But all of us have a voice. All of us can talk. All of us can share. We cannot become a society of cowards where we are even afraid to talk. I'm going to be real honest with you. When I first met Brother Anwar, and he began to tell me about this, only 2 words came to my mind, or 3: homeland security. I'm already in an Islamic situation. I'm an African American, and they're already talking about radicalization of homegrown terrorists. I'm not in traditional clothing. I've been abroad. So I said, do I really want to get into this? Is this worth it? I didn't even hesitate. It's worth it. And they have a saying, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? So I ask all of you, brothers and sisters, to join with this effort, inshallah. Do what you can do. No one's asking you to pick up no weapon. No one asking you to go out and be radical on the corner. I believe the innate intelligence, the fitra that Allah created every human being is enough for us to get this train moving down the track. We have to have more of these sessions in larger gatherings, and every Islamic community particularly should open up their doors and help organize this. Because now I'm really looking at it. If I had not met him, if his constituency had not deemed this worthy of living for and dying for, we wouldn't even be here today. So I'm closing at this present time. I remember the quote from the Quran, وَفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ, that oppression is worse than slaughter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Brother Abdulsamad, for that powerful speech.